The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod and we are coming to you from the Warner Center in Woodland Hills, California. This is the home for Autism Live. It is also the home for the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. Thrilled to be here with you on this lovely Thursday morning in March. Can you believe it's March already? I don't know about the rest of you, but April is like, approaching like this with so many things going on. We're going to be talking about some of those things today because we've got some wonderful guests from Fullerton Cares who are going to be joining us later on. But hey, first we want to let you know that we're going to be with you live for an hour. And during that hour, we want to hear from you. We want to know your thoughts, your feelings, your questions, your concerns. Traven has started already showing you some of the different ways that you can connect with us. We hope that you will find the way ways that works for you to connect with us. But I do want to remind everybody that our homepage is autism-live.com. You can visit us on Facebook, on YouTube, on all these other places that he's showing you, but at autism-live.com, it's kind of where the base, where everything is, where you can go back through old clips. I've had people recently, I said, search topics that you're interested in, see what you come up with and see if you like the way this works, because I want to know how it's working. And I've been hearing good things. Nobody's been complaining. So I hope that you will search our library of videos. We've been doing this for a while. Everybody's a little surprised when we tell them how long we have been doing this. We are coming up on our, I believe it's been 9 years that we've been here, but I think it's the 8th anniversary. It might be the 9th anniversary. I got to look at the calendar of when we've been doing Autism Live, because the show was a little bit different before, and it's been morphed in many different ways. But we've been doing this for a while. There are a lot of videos, a lot of experts talking about a lot of things. It's all free to you in all the different ways that you see there. So we hope that you'll look for what you want, and if you don't find it, that you will write into us and ask questions here of our experts. I always love to be put to work. I'm a little frazzled, I'm going to admit right now, because I don't know, it's just like the energy steps up when it's close to April and I'm behind. So I'm just going to apologize if you've been writing to me and asking me for something. I'm a little behind, but I'm running to catch up. And I want you to be able to write in and know that we are hearing you and listening, but I'm just going to admit I'm behind. But I also want to tell you that I like to give the disclaimer at the start of the show that we have lots of experts on the show. I'm not one of them, but I am a parent of a young individual who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.5. I couldn't be prouder of him. And our journey had, like everybody else's, right? We got really lucky though, and I got good services for him and for me along the way. And I do mean that. I had to go through cognitive behavioral therapy because my anxiety level went, right? So I feel an obligation to pay down my karmic debt by being here and helping other people to get to the information that they need. And I always like to say here that we're about providing information and inspiration, because some days you need the information, right? But other days you just need somebody to tell you, I'm here, I'm listening, I got you, I hold hands with you, we do this together. Si se puede, right? And to know that other people have been able to do it. We were talking to a parent yesterday during Ask Dr. Doreen about, how does anybody pay for this? Man, do I remember feeling that way and thinking, I don't have that figured out. I don't know how people live in the big houses and drive the nice cars. How do you take care of autism? Like, the truth is nobody can afford it, but people have found the way, and I followed people who had found the way, and I'd like to help you follow people who found the way, because there are ways. People are getting it done it's like a magic trick. I don't even completely understand it to this day, how we were able to do it. But day by day, we pieced it together. Oh, this funding, this funding, this funding, and suddenly, you're getting someplace. And I hate it when it's about the money, right? So don't let the money stop you. Write into us. Tell us, I can't figure this out. Shannon, help me to figure it out. And I'll connect you with people who are figuring it out. Okay? But my point is here, I care deeply. And I feel a responsibility to make sure that others get the help that they need. That's why I'm here. And don't make me guess, though. I always say I gave up mind reading to be an autism mom. I can't know what you need. And let's be honest, it's not one size fits all. So please don't assume that I already know what you need. Write in. And in one of the different ways, write in and let us know what it is that you need so that we can be talking about that. All right, fair enough, right? So it's Thursday, and on Thursday, we like to start off with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym. We try to figure out what in the hey nani are those experts talking about? Why do they use these terms? Is it like some, twisted joke that they have that they're like, oh, I know, let's just make up words and the parents won't know what it is we're talking about. I used to wonder those things. But here's the deal. If we get to know these terms, we save time and money and energy and we get more progress. So that's why we try to give you one word. We do this twice a week. And first we give you the actual definition, and whenever possible, I make fun of it because, that's how I roll. And then we try to give you a working definition to help you to understand, all right, why would I even care what this term is? So today's term is one that's particularly hilarious to me because of what it is. Okay, so the word is mand. And, the first time I heard the word, I was like, what are we saying here? Are you saying man? They were saying, we want your child to mand. I think they wanted him to mand like 250 times an hour. And I was like, what exactly is that? He can't do anything 250 times an hour. What are you talking about? So let's take a look at what our actual definition of mand is. Mand. The mand is a type of verbal behavior that is controlled by a motivating operation, deprivation, or an aversive state. Are you cracking up yet? And is followed by specific reinforcement. The mand specifies its own reinforcer. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you just want to make a K-pop song about that definition? What in the heck does that mean? Let's go back to it for a second, Traven. Go ahead and make it full screen. The mand, doesn't it sound like the Mandalorian, like it's a creature, is a type of verbal behavior, okay, that is controlled by a motivating operation. Look, if I knew what a motivating operation was, do you think I'd have to look up the word mand? Do we even think? And then, as if they're like, oh, I'll throw a bone to them because they probably don't know what a motivating operation is. Let me give it an explanation. Deprivation or an aversive state. Don't you just want to light your hair on fire at that point and go, oh, this is not going to end well? And it's followed by a specific reinforcement. What? And then the pièce de résistance, the mand specifies its own reinforcer. Because if I knew what a mand was, that would make some sort of sense to me, right? Why do we have to make things extra complicated? Okay, now that we're all officially I'm confused, I don't know what this is, let's move on to our working definition. The mand is requesting, demanding, or asking for something. So, smart people who are trying to figure out how to do things, they take things apart, right? It's like we look at a car and we go, it's a car. Well, smart people know that it's not a car, it's a drivetrain. And then in the drivetrain, there are all these different pieces to it. And a mechanic knows each little piece and what it does. So the experts in language, and we're always trying, somebody wrote in yesterday and said, how do I build language in a child? And Dr. Grant Bichet started talking about manding, because there are lots of little elements that actually make up language. And they refer to that as verbal behavior. And by the way, verbal behavior isn't all vocal. In fact, only a small percentage of verbal behavior is vocal. The rest of it is expressions in our face, pointing, right? That's how we communicate. And there are lots of opportunities to get it wrong. So when we're trying to build language in someone who doesn't automatically have it building, we want to take it apart to these little finite things and go, oh, okay, this part right here is this. So there's a very important part in language growth that is called manding. Manding is one of the verbal operants, right? And what it is when the person is requesting something or demanding it. So typically developing children get to a point when they're very young, like, right around when they're turning 2, where instead of crying and tantruming and, we stick the bottle in their mouth, they'll, as Dr. Grampiche was saying yesterday, they'll come along and go juice, and sometimes they'll point and they'll say more, or they'll say ooh, right? I used to show it on the show all the time. There's the scientist who had cameras put in his home to watch the verbal development of his child. So when the child came home from the hospital, the house was set up with the cameras, and then they were able to isolate out just one word, water, and look at all the different instances and times and approximations, first that somebody said water to him and that the child said back. And you get to hear, there's like a 32-second tape that has all of the things over a year and a half from when he went, e, wa, woo, wa, 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 wat, water, water, wat, water, right? And it's like this crazy amount of, where you see all the things it takes for a typically developing child to say water, right? But ultimately, what this child was doing was manding for water. He was requesting water, and he had to go through all of these different things before, a year and a half for a typical child, before he could say water. And that is the playing field, right? For kids on the autism spectrum, that year and a half might take 5 years. And for some of our kids, being able to verbally request water, we still are figuring out for some of our kids how to make that happen, right? It's a much smaller percentage, though, than it used to be. So the mand is when they request. If you have a typically developing child, or if people are assuming that you have a typically developing child, there's always that point when everybody's nervous about, and they're not talking enough. Honestly, even with neurotypical kids. And people will always say, oh, you gotta not give it to them until they ask for it. And I can remember a mom of a typically developing kid, she was like, oh, no, no, you're not getting it until you say some form of cookie or more or please or whatever, and then you get it. Well, with our kids on the autism spectrum, it's a little bit harder, right? But it's essentially the same thing. When that part of the definition where it said the man specifies its reinforcer, what that means is that whatever the child is asking for, that's the reinforcer. We talk about it, in ABA that we're setting up this 3-term contingency that, there's something that you need, so you engage in a behavior, and then there's a consequence for it that's a reward, right? So, the manding is one of the easiest things to do. It's because they're being clear with what they want. If the child is saying juice, right, what they want is juice. And when we give it to them, that's the reinforcer. And that actually makes them want to ask for juice more often. So we want to set up circumstances in our homes, in our cars, in our schools, in our therapy, everywhere, where we're encouraging the individual on the spectrum who are trying to build their language to mand. We want them to not only request something, but then to get it when they request it. And I think this is one of the most important things for parents to understand, is that when you are in the phase of building language, it is super important that if they ask for something, give it to them. Later on, you can work on, you can't have that all the time, right? But when we are working on language, and that is the important thing, we go into what we call mand training. And I said to you when I started that there was a time when they were saying, well, we want your 3-year-old to mand 250 times an hour. We want him to request something 200, and that's not even a crazy number. It seems like it even now to me. How do you ask for something 250 times an hour? But for a typical 3-year-old, they're asking probably 500 times an hour for something. Everything in their existence, right? And the mand is something that then grows. For those of you who are out there and you're like, well, I've got the speech and language pathologist who is at school and they're holding up flashcards and they're getting my child to say ball, right? But we're never getting to conversation. This is one of the first building blocks is the Mand. And we'll talk later on about all the other building blocks so that you get to conversation. But you want to see your kids, if they're growing language, in the beginning, they got a Mand, which means they're requesting something. And when they request something, for heaven's sake, give it to them, right? And then we'll finesse that so that they don't get it every time they ask. But right now, we want them to equate when I verbally, if I say buh for bubbles, you blow the bubbles, I get the bubbles, woohoo! I want to ask bubble more often. And by the way, approximations count. Like I said, buh in the beginning, blow the bubbles, right? And it's not just vocal. Kids can mand by pointing. Kids can mand by handing you the little icon for iconic communication. They can mand by asking on their iPad. But in the beginning, while we're building language, give them what they asked for. Single most important thing, so that they will mand more often. Strong base of manding leads us to the next thing, which we'll talk about on Monday. All right, that's the Mand. Okay, moving on. We always have a question of the day for you. And our question today goes right along with our Mand. How do you ask for what you want? Okay, I know that sounds probably like a crazy question, but it isn't. Because how do you request when you want something? Because some of us have been taught to be passive aggressive. Hello. Right? That you don't just ask for what you want. I love my mother, God bless her, right? But we were never taught how to be direct and ask for the things you want. I had to learn that as an adult. When you want something, tell the person that you want it from what it is exactly that you want, because it's a little bit better than making them guess, right? But a lot of us don't do that. And I think that this is a great lesson for all of us to just look at how do we request the things that we want? Are we clear about it? Are we 100% transparent? Because you're more likely to get what you want when you request directly what you want, right? It's a great thing for us to model for our kids. It's a great thing for us to teach, asking for what you want. And the Mand is exactly that. Your child is asking for what they want. And we can do that as well. We can be with our kids, and when we say, when we withhold something, when we're standing there and we know that they want juice because we can read their minds, right? But we say, tell me, do you want this? We're telling them exactly what we want. I want you to communicate with me. That's an okay thing to do. Be clear. Tell people what you want. Okay. Moving on, we always have a topic of the week, and our topic this week that we haven't had enough time to talk about, I gotta be frank about this, is the gift of organization. Boy, it's that time of year, right? It's IEP time and it's tax time. If these are not two examples of why we should be organized and keep our things in a place where we know that they are, I don't know what is. Because for me, I don't know about for you, but these can be the most stressful time of the year for me. I gotta have my tax papers all together. Did I keep them all in one place as they came in? Because if I did, they're all right there and I can, do the taxes, right? Are the IEP materials where they need to be? We talked on Monday about the fact that put it all in a folder. If you get a scanner, invest in a scanner. And whenever you get papers, I think it's worthwhile for both the taxes and the IEP. You scan it in and you put it right into the folder on your desktop, on your computer. Make sure that you got some sort of backup thing. You know where it is. Now, if you've got those things and you're ready for April, because you're going to do the taxes and you're going to do the IEP and it's great, then you can start to worry about the other areas of your life. Stop and ask yourself, first of all, what's the place that you're not organized that sucks the most of your time? Like, is it that your closet is not organized and that it's costing you 15 minutes in the morning? Because I got to say to you, if that's it, you spend 4 hours on a weekend and organize your closet, save yourself 15 minutes a day. The break-even point comes very quickly, right? Or, is it getting the lunch supplies? Do we need to talk about where in the pantry are the lunch things? Sometimes we'll go and organize something that it doesn't give us a big bang for our buck. There's no big reinforcer for it. So ask yourself, where's the part in your day that gets tripped up because you're not organized? Is it your work bag? Is it your child's backpack? Where could you buy time if you just took a little bit of time and got organized? The gift of organization, because we're always talking, how do we get that stress down? And someplace in your day, I guarantee you, you're being stressed. I know I am, because there's something you haven't taken the time to organize. So what can we do? Give yourself the gift of organization. All right, I would love to say that we're going to get more time for this later on, but we're not, because we have something better. So on the show today, we have one of my favorite people on the face of the planet, and for the first time, he's bringing his mother, who, I just think if you meet a man who's a mensch, look to his mother, because the mother's probably pretty fabulous, and in this instance, that is absolutely accurate. So Larry Hauser, who is the founder of Fullerton Cares, is here, and he has brought his mother, Priscilla. It's the first time she's been on the show. I guarantee you it's going to be fireworks and fabulousness. We're going to be talking about the Mardi Gras for autism that is coming up in just a couple of weeks. I can't even believe that it's that time of the year again, but if you watch the show, this is one of my favorite events of the year. This is not to be missed if you're in Southern California at this time of year. So stick with us. We're going to be right back with Larry Hauser and his fabulous mother, Priscilla.
Hey, I'm Candace Cameron Bray.
Tom Bergeron.
You're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
You're watching Autism Live.
Do you provide care services to someone with autism? Recently, more and more children are being diagnosed with the condition and getting the support they need as awareness grows. But what happens to these children as they grow up? It's estimated that over 500,000 youth with autism will turn 18 in the next decade, and they'll be faced with a very difficult reality. As children with autism grow up, their services start to disappear or become very difficult to access. Things like medical care, mental health counseling, vocational training, and more. All services that are still desperately needed. The loss of support that youth with autism face as they grow up is so severe that it's referred to in the autism community as falling off a cliff. Adults with autism need the same level of support they had as children to avoid falling off the services cliff. Introducing Skills Living, the web-based software designed specifically to help transitioning youth and adults with autism so they can avoid the cliff and instead fly to success. With Skills Living, help your learner with autism develop the skills they need in all the critical areas of adult life, including self-control, planning, and problem-solving, effective communication, performing life skill tasks for independent living, acquiring and maintaining employment or other meaningful activities, developing and maintaining social skills and relationships, accessing transportation and public services, and being safe. Skills Living includes a comprehensive assessment, a data collection mobile app, behavior intervention plan builder, and automatic progress reporting. It also provides a complete curriculum addressing 16 key areas spanning the entire range of functioning adulthood. Skills Living is easy to use and can be implemented by schools, parents, and autism service providers. Call or click today for your free demo and see how Skills Living can help your learner with autism avoid the cliff and instead reach their fullest potential. Skills Living. Wish, learn, become.
Life-threatening aspects of autism. Unfortunately, autism can be a life-threatening condition. There are things that are associated with it that parents need to know about. First of all, there's the risk of seizure. It's heightened in people with autism. There's also the risk of what they call elopement, which means basically running away. Elopement can lead to things like exposure, drowning if they get near bodies of water, and maybe being hit by cars. Being hit by cars is certainly something that seems to be emerging as a problem in people with autism. So what do? We have to take certain steps to keep them safe to start. That means at home. Let's look around the home first. Where are your points of entry? Barriers, doors, windows, access to bodies of water, gates, fences. You have to look at school. because people with autism can sometimes elope from school or things like that, daycare. So you have to make sure that it is written into their plan, wherever they are, that people are going to be responsible. That may include a tracking device. For some people with autism or Asperger's, a tracking device might be useful. It might help people know where they are, so in case someone has taken them a place that they shouldn't be taken, kind of trick them. Sometimes you get that happening with your teenagers, or they're just a child that's unable to communicate or speak very well and you need to know where they are. Consider that. There's a new generation of tracking devices. It can go in their shoe, can go in their jean, maybe in a cell phone. And I would also add that one of the most life-threatening aspects of autism is sadly being bullied, socially excluded, things like that. That's always happening in people with autism spectrum disorder. People bully them, exclude them. The risk of suicide is unfortunately very high. So do not be afraid to probe, ask uncomfortable questions, see what's happening. Even if they don't tell you, you need to ask other people at school what they know, what they've seen. Even though it's an uncomfortable thing, we do need to be aware that this is a very dangerous situation at times. Be very, very vigilant. Stay upbeat, be positive, and realize no one person and no one family can keep a child with autism safe all by themselves. Get the support you need, look around, be vigilant. It's better to take steps you feel that you don't need too soon than too late.
Hello, fellow activists. Last week, we talked about the first step to empowerment. Accept and embrace this challenge. Sometimes you have people that support you in your denial. Maybe it's your husband, maybe it's your mother. When I expressed my concern to my pediatrician about Wyatt losing language around the age of 2, his response, maybe he's a late talker, he's a boy. Let's wait and see. But what about the temper tantrums? What about the fact that he put his head through the kitchen window? What about the bite marks and scratches all over my arms and chest? He said he's probably just frustrated that he can't express himself. Let's wait and see. But autism doesn't afford us that luxury. Of course, I was relieved with my pediatrician's reassurances, but I should have gone with my gut, because if I had, I could have gotten a diagnosis 2 years earlier. And I lost 2 valuable years that could have been spent on early intervention. And finally, when Wyatt was diagnosed, he was misdiagnosed. But of course, part of that was my problem too. I lied in a lot of those parent questionnaires so things looked better. I can't turn back the hands of time, but I can recommend that you face this challenge head on. Denial prevents us from walking a path we eventually will have to walk anyway. The sooner you face the truth, the sooner you can help your child. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep the faith.
You and I were just talking how much we love rice.
Exactly.
And what we're trying to do with our kids is to
Get them off the carbs.
Correct. Eat correct. Less rice. So literally, this is like what I would order at Benihana's or any, Japanese or Chinese food restaurant, whether you're at P.F. Chang's, and we're going to do it all with cauliflower. So let's go ahead and get started.
Let's go.
So what we want to do is throw this all into the food processor here, and we're going to get this to the consistency of little rice pellets, if you will. So, and I'll throw some on the floor for the gods who need the floor cauliflower. And that's good. I think that's enough.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and pulse this on. This almost looks like the Parmesan cheese that we were making earlier with the pesto. But I love this. It's definitely got the consistency. Looks a little bit like rice. So Amy, talk to me, this recipe with stir-fried rice. We want to use a soy sauce, but why no soy?
So with a lot of our kids, where we know they have issues with gluten and casein, soy is very similar in the way it's molecularly made up. So that with the gluten and casein, they break down into peptides that the body doesn't know how to process. Same thing happens with soy. So in this case, we really would caution not to do soy sauce for a recipe. So coconut aminos is a great substitute.
And so we've got our cauliflower ready to go, our peas and carrots, green onion, salt and pepper, eggs, sesame oil. Now we're going to head over to the stove. First part is to take our onions, and if you don't like green onions, this is great with sweet onions or even yellow onions chopped up. Then we're going to take our cup of peas and carrots. And I always like to say we go together like peas and carrots. So we'll get this all sauteed into tender. There's the egg. So, if we can, we'll do a little salt and pepper to taste. So now what we're going to do is take our secret cauliflower mix, if you want to hand that to me. And we're going to throw this in, and notice the consistency does look a lot like rice. We're going to take the secret sauce that we were talking about earlier, the coconut aminos. Just love this stuff. So it calls for a couple of tablespoons, and as you all know, I'm not a measurer. And I may just put a little more in because I love this stuff. Cheers. Oh my gosh. You would never know this is not rice. No, we're hiding from our children all those carbs, and we're actually eating vegetables. Go figure. Hey, thanks for joining us again. Thank you, Autism Live, and we love seeing you here. We're all about healthy eating for our kids, and we appreciate you. If you have questions for Autism Live, hit autismlive@gmail.com. If you have questions for me and want to convert more recipes with me and Amy, that'd be great. We could do that again. You can email me at lisa@takanow.org, and we'll see you at the next What's Left.
This cooking video is brought to you by WellAmy.com. Amy, a certified nutritionist and holistic health practitioner, is an expert on autism and special diets. Find ingredients and other GFCF-approved foods and recipes at WellAmy.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Autism Live. So excited to be here. I have a full house. Next to me, I have the fabulous Boyd Hauser. I gave him permission because we had this long setup. Look up and say hi to everybody. Hello. But I gave him permission. I said it was okay with me, if it was okay with Dad, for him to be on his switch, because sometimes these interviews can be boring, yes? A little bit. A little bit. So, just keeping it real. So, he's going to be hanging out with us, and he's going to be on his switch a little bit, but he agreed that whenever we were talking directly to him that, that he would stop for a second. And already he's demonstrated he's good at that. But also in the studio, I have his wonderful dad, Larry Hauser, and you guys know that he's one of my favorite people on the face of the planet. And he brought his mother. And I said before we went to break that whenever you meet a man who's a mensch, who's fabulous, who, steps up, I always want to meet the mom, right? Because there's always an amazing mom, and Priscilla is the example of that. So thrilled, because she's never been on the show before, so thrilled that we have this opportunity. Now, we're all here to talk about a wide variety of things, but most especially we want to talk about Mardi Gras for autism that's happening this year. So Larry, give us the 411 on what's happening this year.
This will be our 10-year anniversary for the event.
No way. Wow, that's amazing.
We're so stoked and so excited to bring the families. Again, another amazing event with families being able to get over 50 vendor resources, autism related specific, and be able to bring their kids to attractions that are autism sensory friendly.
Yeah. Amazing. So it happens, it's the 4th of April that it's happening, and it's in the train station parking lot in Fullerton.
Yep.
And while they're there, people, what's also in that parking lot is Bourbon Street Bar and Grill. Plus, you have, what is the name of the pizza parlor?
Well, it's called the Bowery.
The Bowery.
Craft beer and pizza.
Ooh, okay. So, plus there's other restaurants that are there too, and so that's sort of the anchor for it as part of the train station. But then the whole parking lot is filled with fun things to do, and it's crazy town fun things to do. As you said, there's a resource. Anybody who's there, anybody has a booth there, so people can find out information about things that will be helpful to them. But it's also just ridiculously off the chain fun. Yes.
It's
right?
it's incredible. We started off with a little sliver of the parking lot, and then it just grew, each year. And I would say at least the past 6 years, it's just been like this mega autism event. It just blasts our mind beyond expectations.
It is, it's a Mardi Gras event, and so one of the first things that happens when you get there is that there are so many volunteers. Like Fullerton, I don't know what the magic pixie dust that you people have, that maybe it's like coming over from Disneyland and landing on you guys because you're close to Disneyland, but you have more volunteers than anybody else at any other event, and they do a lot of things. What kinds of things, Priscilla, do they have going on at the event?
First thing in the morning, they're there early setting everything up, so running water and just helping all the other vendors set up.
Yeah.
And then we have our check-in girls that check in everyone in and give them a free T-shirt that represents Mardi Gras, like Larry Boyd has. And we also have the girls that give out the beads. The beads are the big thing.
All right?
Yes.
I mean, I've never actually been to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. I'm assuming that you have.
Oh, yeah.
But I've seen the videos, and there's a big bead throwing thing, and people wearing the beads and wearing more and more beads. And you guys participate in the bead mania.
It's crazy. And we just have them out on the table, which we're selling tickets, and the kiddos just love the sensory feeling of them. And they can take as many as they want. They just load it down with beads, and they love them.
I'm telling you, you get there and you have people in your face immediately saying, how can we help you? And I've experienced both as a person going, to just participate and be a family there, but also to be, a vendor there as well. There's always people there to help in any way, and everyone is friendly, and everyone is like, here, if they see that you are not already weighed down in beads, they're like, here, let's give you some beads. And that, the beads are totally free. I don't know how much your bead account is, but it's excessive.
We go through about 30,000 beads.
And I'm telling you, it's part of what sets the tone. It's money well spent, because everybody gets excited, and the kids already are like, I've got a gold strand, and I've got a purple strand, and I've got a green strand. I'm good to go. And so that's a part of it. But then you have all these activities, and you have the sensory zone. Who wants to talk about that?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start, and you can chime in, Mom.
Okay.
The sensory zone was really just something that we experimented with, and we just saw how not only children with autism loved it, but typical kids absolutely loved it too. So we just expanded on it. Basically, we have about 40 little pools that have something sensory oriented inside of it. Whether it's sand, beans, rice, water beads, bubbles, foam, kinetic sand. We just have an array of pools and it's awesome, because you see kids playing with kids, typical kids playing with kids with autism, and their parents all crouched down in all of these little pools around the whole area.
It's crazy town. It's amazing. Such a good thing. I mean, it's like I don't even have other words for it. It's such a good thing, and there are so many things for a kid to do, for a family to do. You typically have the medieval knights people there, and they're interacting with people. You have people face the jugglers. Sometimes you have somebody with a marionette. There's the mechanical shark. You have the Aquarium of the Pacific there sometimes, where you get to go in and pet the sea cucumber. Boyd, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you ever pet the sea cucumber? Have you done that at the Aquarium of the Pacific in the trailer that's there at the? Have you done that?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, this year you got to pet the sea cucumber.
Okay.
It's a pretty fabulous thing. But have you played in the game truck that's there?
Yes.
I thought so. I thought that would yes. So the game truck is there. I mean, there's something for everyone, and this brings me to always the thing when I talk about Fullerton Cares and Mardi Gras for Autism is that the entire community comes. It's not hear me when I say it is not the entire autism community. Of course, they're there, but that's not who shows up. It's the entire community. You have the local dentist, you have the local banker, you have, the people who cut hair, you have the superintendent of schools, you have the teachers that are there. The entire community
Mayors,
is
city council
there.
people, assembly men and women, they all show up and purposely making an attempt to come to this event.
Yeah. And each booth that has something has a game to play. Autism Live has been there before and had a booth, and we have a game to play. And then while the kids are playing the game to win a little prize, often you have like information for whatever your organization is, which you offer to people. And, we go to events all the time, and I'm explaining to people, well, we're Autism Live, we're a show, interactive show, you can ask questions. At Fullerton Cares, I got to change up my pitch because most of the time it's people who don't have kids on the spectrum.
Right.
It's about, the people in the community that, so I will say to them, is there somebody you care about on the autism spectrum? And the answers that I get, they're like, well, I have a kid in my classroom, and so that's why I'm here. Or, I have a kid in my practice, and that's why I'm here. Or, my daughter goes to school and there's a boy in her class that's on the autism spectrum. It makes me cry. It makes me weep because I say this to you all the time, this is where we want to get with everybody. If every single community had every single person show up to an autism event, we'd be done. We'd be done with that aspect. We wouldn't have to keep pushing education and awareness and all that. We'd be done. You've achieved what we're all trying to achieve. Congratulations.
It's a labor of love. It really is.
Well, and I know that one of the things you wanted to say, Larry, is, because I always say, power of one, that guy right there, power of one. And you always say to me, that no, because it's everybody else who came in. And I know that you wanted to talk a little bit about sometimes it's the grandmoms.
Yeah, well, my mom always has taught, embedded in our heads that it takes a village, okay? So she always says that.
Yeah.
So it really, for the Mardi Gras and for Fullerton Cares, it is a total village, with our volunteers, with the community, but all those moms and grandmas that really do the heavy lifting, the stuff that nobody sees, the stuff that often don't get credit for. So I just definitely want to recognize those people, especially my mom.
Yeah, and you were saying to me before that, you couldn't have done all this, that you've had support. And, let's be honest, that not everybody has that, but that you not only had it, but you utilize that to be able to do things not only for your child, but for the community, which is why we think you're such a mensch.
Thank you.
Because you could have just sat back and said, I'm just going to help my kid. You absolutely could have done that. But instead, you kind of changed the world. It's kind of big.
With my village.
With your village, yes. And you have been, I was so excited when they said that you were going to come because I always see you running everything. You're behind the scenes, doing all these things. Even years ago, we did that Facing Fatherhood, which I still have to figure out what we're doing with that. It's still so incredible. But, you sat with me while they were filming and we listened. You and I shared some tearful moments because it was basically, we had a luncheon, which was wonderful food that Larry brought from Bourbon Street Bar and Grill and had a bunch of dads sit around and answer questions about fatherhood when your child is on the autism spectrum. And it was emotional. It's a great piece of footage. We ran into issues because one of the people who participated in it passed away, and so it was this, very emotional thing. But it's, his widow has said, "Would you please do something with that?" So we have to do something with that. She's ready now for us to get it out there, and it's timeless. It's amazing dads. You were one of the dads, and you guys got open.
Yeah.
You guys opened up and we were clutching each other and, it was a pretty amazing thing. So I've always seen you and you're always there at the Mardi Gras working.
I love it.
She's there pretty much when everybody else gets there at 6 in the morning.
It's just very heartwarming to see the interaction. And, you know, these kids just are accepted. They're just typical kids, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's very humbling to see that experience, to see them experience that. And if they have a little bit of a meltdown or, you know, little difficulty with the sensory, there's always somebody there. Hey, can we help you?
Yep.
You know, just kind of soothing, you know. And
it's an amazing event.
And it's okay if that happens.
It's an amazing event, and we should note that the event is free. Come to the event, participate. There are things that you can spend money on.
Right.
There are things that you can buy tickets for, and some things are ticketed and other things are not ticketed. But you know, you can, if you are anywhere near Fullerton, you should go. Let's just say that. You will have a good time, and there's lots to do and there's like amazing food. You know, my son always wants to go, and you have I don't know what it's called, but it's like some sort of, it's like French fries, but they're like potato chips, but it's like nachos.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Those were bourbon street nachos.
Oh, stop. I mean, it's like nachos, but with cut potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's ridiculously good, you guys. It's like one of the best things on the face of the planet. And he gets it without the cheese, and it's still amazing.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, because he's all GFCF. It's like really, he talks about it all year long. It's good stuff. And now with the Bowery, you've got even more stuff going on there. There's pizza opportunities, all of that stuff going on. Okay, so Fullerton Cares, the Mardi Gras for Autism. It's April 4th.
Yes.
What time does it start?
11 to 4.
11 to 4. Now, you used to do this during actual Mardi Gras.
Right.
But now it's moved to April. There were a little too much rain?
It has, and it was that I think, was that the first time that you were there?
No, I'd been there before. There was one year where we almost all got washed out to the ocean. It was so wet.
Yeah, I think after that one, we're like, let's move it to Autism Awareness Day. I think our chances are a little bit better.
And so you guys are almost the unofficial kickoff for Autism Awareness Month now, because you're always the first weekend, and it's a really great thing to do. But it's not the only thing that you do. And I want to pivot just for a second to talk about some of the other things that Fullerton Cares does, because year-round you guys do amazing things in your community. And it really, for anybody who's watching who's like, well, I wish that my community had this. Let's remember that there was a time when Larry could have said the same thing. I wish my community had this, but Larry decided, well, I guess I'm going to be the agent of change and make that happen, and you can too. I keep asking Larry, but now I've met your sister-in-law, and now I'm asking her that somebody needs to put together the manual for communities. This is how you put together an autism coalition in your community.
Right, and I've kind of like organized that, what you said, because I just go and I do, I'm just full speed ahead.
Yes.
But then when you start talking about it, I'm like, okay, well, how did I do it?
Yes.
So I kind of know. I kind of have it organized now.
Okay.
A bit. Yes, we raise monies for the programs in the area. I think that's I don't want to say easy, but that's like the easy part. I think the hard part is to be able to be the squeaky wheel into the city council person's ears, the school board person's ears, the PTA, everybody up the chain in the school district in a positive way. And so, that's what Fullerton Cares has been able to do. We've been able to do it through food. We realize that schools and all sorts of things want donations, okay?
Yes.
And we know that we can give what they want, but I have an opportunity to also ask for something back. And a lot of the times it is for those typical families to volunteer at the Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So my whole goal was never to really preach to the choir, which is our autism community. It really was to preach to the families that aren't affected by autism. I want them to see what this community is and educate them more. So
well, you have done that.
That
You've
is
been very
really
successful.
What we do well.
And clever like a fox, because you realize that you bring a value to the table and create value, and that's how you got their ear.
Right.
Because I look at what you guys have been able to do with your school district, that I didn't realize it started with the food, but then you were able to hold fundraisers, which, I mean, this is how perfect this is, you guys. You held fundraisers, so then you gave wish lists to all of the special education teachers in your district. They had wish lists and you funded them.
Right.
But so here's how incredible this is. You funded it, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have a booth during the 4th of July where you sell fireworks, and that's how you fund it. But this is how crazy good this is. So you got volunteers, parents, to be at the booth to work together for the fireworks, which is what got them, like, they felt like they have a community now. They all talk about, oh, I get to work at the firework booth. They don't talk about, oh no, it's my turn. It's this fun social thing for them, and they feel connected to the community and feel like they have friends in the community because they weren't just going to come to a parent support group meeting.
No.
You said, I need to raise money to give to the school district, so it becomes this beautiful circle where you have this social event that raises money, that gives money to the school wants to work with you, and then those parents go to the IEP meetings and everybody's working on the same thing and everybody gets something to take home. You're a genius.
So with our comedy show, you know, we might get 5 minutes of a message, you know. There's a lot of people that come to our comedy show who wouldn't normally go to the Mardi Gras event. You know,
That's true too.
Those are the people that want to support, but they don't really want to do that. Go to a walk or a you know, whatever. But they would more than happy go to a comedy show. So I get 5 minutes to get my message across. That's good enough.
And you raise some money at that. And that's an opportunity for people to get out and hear some, you know, world-class comedy. The last 2 years you've had Jay Moore.
Yeah.
Stop. I mean,
We
so
had you
hilarious.
too.
You guys,
Yeah,
Grace,
we had you
like,
too.
let me have a few minutes on the microphone and where I embarrass myself. But you know, I mean, and you have comics that are on the spectrum. Like you guys, it's a wonderful event. It's a wonderful comedy event. You raise money. It's a great social event. But all of these things fuel so many different programs that you guys have. You've been able to go into the schools, make a sensory garden, a butterfly sensory garden. You've been able to fund what the wish lists were for your special education teachers.
All the technology back when it was needed, whiteboards, iPads. Now they have so much technology they don't need it anymore. So we just find other ways to fund, right?
The prom, you guys make a very special event and make sure that there's limousines and dinner and corsages and pictures for special needs individuals to be able to go to the prom. You guys make it really, really special for them. You also help, there are classes that you guys help with. You have your martial arts things that you guys participate in, and there's the dance group that you guys...
We also give a paycheck to 3 employees that have autism. So they get a real paycheck every 2 weeks.
I'm so proud to know you guys.
And you know, we want to walk the walk. We don't want to just talk the talk. And every day about a group of 20 kids comes in the Bourbon Street and the Bowery from the ROP program with the school districts, and they come and they work train, and you know, because there's a ton of stuff to do in a restaurant. So,
amazing.
It's just part of our life now. When they don't come in, it's weird to us.
I also kind of want to point out that timeline-wise, that you started Fullerton Cares before your child was diagnosed, right? Wasn't it like it was like right before that you had already made the decision to do this?
No, it was when he was diagnosed. It's when we I wasn't sure whether I should, you know, blast it out to the public or not, and then finally I did, and one of my fellow restaurant owners volunteered to throw a comedy show, and so that's when I knew that there was something there, like support. I don't know, whatever it was, a whole lot of people came, and then my brain started working, you know, and that's where it started. And
I understand that Boyd is up for, he's already gotten one distinction, award, what are we calling it?
I don't know. It's an award by the school district. We just went to one a couple weeks ago, and it's called Every Student Succeeds Award, and it's basically a child that has had terrible circumstances in their lives or unfortunate circumstances, so some being on the spectrum and have worked their way through against all the odds to achieve academic and social success. So, you know, there are kids that lost their families, you know, both parents that have done that. But
hearing impaired. Just all kinds.
And it was just the whole thing was just inspiring. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. And after I'm sitting there going, oh man, I never thought I had it bad, but I'm going. I don't really have it bad now.
Well,
you know,
but he's overcome so much.
So
and Boyd, can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure.
So tell the people at home what grade you're in.
I'm in 6th.
And you participate in Fullerton Cares a
Yes,
lot. You
I do.
volunteer. You have so many events during the year. Which one is your favorite?
All of them.
All of them. Good answer. Going into politics, right? No, okay, but which one is coming up?
Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. And what do you like to do at the Mardi Gras?
I like the game truck.
Oh, the game truck. Well, that would be my son's favorite part too. Wonderful. And have you decided what you want to do when you grow up yet, Boyd?
Be a YouTuber.
A YouTuber? You want to? Oh, well, listen. Hey, we've got an internship for you when you're ready. You know, and I think a lot of people want to be a YouTuber. But you're going to go to college to be a YouTuber, yes? Do you think so, Boyd?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you thought about which college yet?
Not really.
Okay. All right. And do you work yet in the restaurants?
Yeah.
Part time?
Part of the times I do.
Yeah. What kinds of things do you do at the restaurant to help? I know you're playing. It's an important part. I didn't give him enough warning. What's your favorite thing to do at the restaurant to work? Do you like working the cash register or do you like sweeping up?
I like to work somewhere. I like all jobs.
Oh, you like all jobs. Do you ever cook?
I don't know.
No. Okay. Probably not. That's high heat. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, I know.
You're 11. We're not ready for cooking.
He's pretty much done. He does everything around there. If I need stocking done, he'll stock it. But you know he understands the value of money. So that's what we've taught him at an early. Well, that's what he wanted. Actually, I barely even taught him. That's what he wanted to learn at an early age.
Yeah,
So
he was interested in that.
So he knows he's got to do A, B, C, and D to get you know, some money to buy some games. So
That's it. That's wonderful. Okay, can I ask you like 2 more questions?
Sure.
Can you pause it?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Good job. I want to ask you about your grandma.
Oh.
Because you are super lucky. You've got this fabulous grandma who's next to you,
grandma?
right?
Mm-hmm.
And what kinds of things do you love to do with grandma?
We play Pokemon Go.
She plays Pokemon Go with you?
No, she doesn't.
Oh, okay.
Drive.
She drives you everywhere? Like, where does she drive you?
Anywhere that I can get Pokemon.
Oh, so she drives you for the Pokemon Go to go capture things? That's pretty fabulous that Grandma does that for you. Really wonderful. And do you ever get to spend time with just Grandma?
Sit up, buddy.
Yeah?
I do.
So they can see you now. See, they couldn't see you before. You were hiding behind me.
Okay.
Because it's pretty fabulous to have such a wonderful grandma, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I won't bug you anymore. You look pretty good on camera, though, don't you?
Thanks.
Pretty handsome. All right, we're almost out of time, but once again, I want to plug Mardi Gras for Autism, April 4th at the train station in Fullerton. You can pretty much drive to Fullerton and just follow the signs to the train station. It is very close to Disneyland. I like to say to people, go to Mardi Gras for Autism on the Saturday and then go to Disneyland on the Sunday. If you're not from town, perfect getaway for the weekend to participate in that. It's a wonderful event. You will get your batteries recharged. You will also get tons of paraphernalia. We always get new keychains every year at the Mardi Gras for Autism. The Medieval Times gives out great keychains, you guys. But there's all kinds of other fun stuff to do. Go and dip yourself in what the future looks like. This is what a community looks like when the whole community participates. I joke endlessly about the fact that I'm going to retire in Fullerton just because of all this. And my son's looking at colleges, and I'm forcing him to look at Fullerton. So there we go. You guys are amazing. You're an amazing family, and you've started something that's truly wonderful. So now we just have to make sure that you write it all down for everybody else so that we can follow in your footsteps. Where can people go if they want to know more?
Just go to our website, www.fullertoncares.com, and it's right there. Facebook too. It's just type in Fullerton Cares. We're everywhere.
Okay. So check it out, you guys, an amazing organization. And if you can't get there, you can always make a donation to Fullerton Cares to help them to do what they do. And you can reach out to them to ask them advice about if you're starting it where you live. So make sure that you check them out. Boyd, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Boyd, you want to say goodbye to your viewers?
Bye, viewers. Bye-bye.
This is the beginning of your YouTube career. Yes. Is that the way you want to sign off? Or do you want to look up and what would your sign up be? He's got the most beautiful blue eyes in the world. I don't know if you guys can see it from there. Look at there. Look, you look like a YouTuber. You look fabulous. All casual and like it's okay. Anyway, we're out of time. I am supposed to read for you guys that on tomorrow's show we have Karen Nolte with us for Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy. We're covering a bunch of news stories, and Karen Nolte is talking with us about a bunch of research that I promise you will be of interest to you. That is tomorrow. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me. Oh, hold the phone. I forgot. I have to remind you, tonight, check out our Twitter starting at 5:30 Pacific time. So that's 8:30 Eastern time. We are at an event, a tweet-a-thon, with the cast of Everything's Gonna Be Okay at Freeform Studios tonight. Autism Live is going to be there. I'm going to be there with Traven. We're going to be watching the show as it premieres on the East Coast and tweeting with the cast of Everything's Going to Be Okay. So be watching our Twitter feed, Autism at Autism Live Show. And we'll be tweeting with them, and we'll be taking pictures and posting those on Facebook. But tomorrow we'll be back. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.